We'll go ahead and get that going. Let me share the screen. Let me do this. Dr. Revis, did you get my correction on this where I had forgotten to change the week at the top? I sent it to you. I use whatever I did the last time as a template, and I delete and I just add whatever I need to. And I left it at week 12, and I went back and correct. All this is correct. I just had that wrong up there.
Okay, I'll go back. No, I didn't open it up, but I'll go back and post that one.
Okay.
I can't believe we're at week 14 already.
It's this has been the fastest semester.
It really has.
It's been the fastest year. This whole year.
I can't believe it either.
And I can remember you, Kayla, that first day, that first
I
night.
was gonna drop out.
Yeah, well, I know it. I'll tell you, I can tell you now because you can laugh at it. With Dr. Revis, and I said, Kayla looked like a deer in the headlights tonight. You have come a long way.
But I do want to thank y'all so much as well for your guidance. I mean, it has really.
You are welcome.
Virtual learning is really not my thing, but I have felt much stronger and under you guys' leadership and guidance. It's almost as if I'm like,
well, thank you. That means a lot. But you're doing well, and you're going to do well. So
thank you. I don't have any more assignments except the competency.
Well,
it feels weird.
And you'll do well on them because you did well on your first 12. So I'm not worried about them. So.
Kayla, I remembered when you talked about in the beginning about, you never get to see your principal and you're real kind of worried about being able to do some of these tasks. And look at you now. I mean, that last presentation you did, they embraced it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, and honestly, because I just realized that, you just really have to put yourself out there. If that's what you want, you have to put yourself out there. And that's what separates a leader from somebody who's complacent anyway. So
you just said it. I said, that's leadership.
Yeah.
That's good leadership.
Right. And I think about some of my best teachers in high school too. They were stern, they were nurturing, and they were just like, look, I'm not going to chase after you. You know what I'm saying? I already have my degrees and stuff. I'm trying to help you get yours. And so understanding that frame of mind, I realized the administrators are all super busy in my school. There's 1,800 students. There's 4 assistant principals. Everybody has stuff to do. So you have to put yourself out there if you want to, be a part of it and get something done.
Your 1,800 students, that's almost like a small college.
Yeah. I mean, there's literally 6 different buildings on campus. We have A building, B building, C, D, and E, and F. It is a lot. It really is.
That's a lot. That's a big school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dr. Revis, people are still joining. Let's just give it another second to see. Got 33 participants. Dr. Revis, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay. Well, welcome guys to week 14. We were just talking about how quickly this semester has seemed to have flown by. I know that when we're busy, time's always flying by. And I know there's probably been many times this semester in which you wish you could manufacture more time to get some things done. But we were just talking with Kayla and just how much growth that we have seen from you and in your ability not only to feel comfortable in working in your school in a clinical internship role, but also how much you've grown in just your ability to talk the language of leadership. And I know you're demonstrating that as well. So I really enjoyed reading your reflections this past week. And for those of you in Dr. Stedman's class, I have to admit to you, I have not gone in and started working on your competency folios, but that is my goal after class tonight, to get in there and start working on those. So
and I will
welcome to
tell
week
you,
14.
and I would tell you, Dr. Revis, your group, your two groups, they kept me busy the weekend. I mean, I worked the weekend on, it kept coming in. It just kept coming in. And
Good.
the same thing, even through today, it's all coming. But before we go any further, Dr. Revis, let's just talk about, I would say that 95% of the students have, or 90%, more than 90%, they've completed all 4 tasks of the AAPTEL. May not have submitted, put it all together, whatever, but completed. So let's just basically talk about comments about the AAPTEL, you know, the overall work, and maybe some things that as they're moving from 601, and we're going to talk about 603 tonight, some things that as they're going to be doing their 2 evidences in the spring that they need to be careful of, you know, those kinds of things.
Right. Well, I was very pleased with the work that I have seen thus far. I have, like you said, about 90% completed with task 4, and many of you have already put together task 1 through 4 and are submitting that for my
I don't
review.
hate you,
And I
Rude,
just
and I'm
like to
really getting
review
tired of
one-
you thinking that I
Okay.
do, because I'm
Okay,
upset with you.
If
You know
everybody,
you're not supposed to touch
everybody,
me
please
inappropriately.
mute
You're not supposed to touch
yourself.
anybody.
I didn't make a burger.
Hold on,
Okay,
make sure I'm.
okay, everybody, please mute yourselves. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Revis.
Okay. And I was real pleased with the quality of work that came in. Next semester, and we've told you this, next semester, you have 2 tasks, 2 big evidence artifacts that you have to work on as well. And your instructors are not going to focus on that as much as we have. After you've been through those 2, the APSTEL and the APTEL, you kind of see the rhythm and the flow of things. Now, they do have templates. Is that not correct?
Well,
Dr. Stedman?
I'm going to show them that they will have one for the
Okay.
OMA, their first one, but they will not have one for the next one. But we'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Okay. So you guys understand the flow of the work. And so you're going to have to be doing that while you're doing some coursework. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the night session, getting you a little bit, giving you some foreshadowing of our town hall meeting for next week. So again, overall, I was very pleased. I've already had 2 submitted to Taskstream, Racine, and I think
Brandon.
Both have scored 4. So I'm very pleased with that. And I know, Dr. Stedman, you've had a few more than that. Go ahead and get through that
I've had
process.
several to submit. All the scores have been good. They have all been good. You know, I'm not the evaluator. You know, sometimes I may not agree with them, but you know, I'm not the evaluator. So you know, but no matter what, I've been pleased with all the scores. So, you know, all of you, no matter what your score is at this point, if you've got a score back, you know, just hold your head up high, and, you know, a job well done, as I have said, you know, in my responses back to you. There are many of you, or not many of you, several that you're sitting right on the tip of it. I think I've cleared you basically with the Turnitin process, and it's a matter of, you know, you pushing the button and submitting it, you know, for a final evaluation So, you know, you can do that anytime this week. However, the AAPTEL, unless you have talked with Dr. Revis and me about anything specifically, the AAPTEL should be completed and submitted by this Sunday night by 9 o'clock. So that is, you know, you need to get that behind you. And there's really, Dr. Revis, I don't know of anybody that's not the part. I mean, it's possible. I mean, they should be able to do it with no problems, whatever. But overall, very, very pleased. To me, some of the best work that I have received with the AAPTEL, with the growth plans, I was very pleased with the growth plans and the thought processes that went behind it and the development of that. And I just hope that you're going to be able to take them, and your administration is going to allow you to actually implement them at your places of work. Let's look at the next part, and this is we've had several questions on this, so I felt like that I needed to just put it up there. Dr. Revis and we talked about this earlier this week, and we just needed to put this up there so that you would see. Sometimes you see it black and white, it makes it real. So these are your final Taskstream requirements. This is everything other than the submission of the AAPTEL. That's a Taskstream requirement. These are your others. With your competency folio, you've already done 12 of the competencies. So a few of you may have done 13 competencies. Even if you did, just remember that for the AAPTEL purpose, when no, you've done that, you did it. For here, just remember, you've got to do whatever is left. If you did 12, then you've got 9 left. If you did 13, and a few of you may have done 13, that means that you would have 8 left in your folio to do. So whatever is left, you have to do that of the 21 competencies. Remember, just remember that with the folio, you must do your narrative, a brief narrative, but it must have an artifact to support the narrative. If it's open-ended, it still must have an artifact. Every competency must have at least one supporting artifact. So please make sure that that you're mindful of that. Dr. Revis, like I said, about half of your students have completed that activity that already. So, Dr. Revis, do you have
That's
anything to say
great.
about the competency folio?
No, I
I
don't.
think they know
And
what
as I said
to do.
earlier, I will start working on your class as soon as we get off here tonight.
Okay, no problem. Now, the School of Ed disposition. Again, this is not, there's nothing you have to write there. Well, I say there's nothing. Complete and submit for evaluation in Taskstream. And again, these are due no later than December 2nd, the competency folio, everything you see here by December 2nd. Now notice, December 2nd is not on Sunday. December 2nd is on a Thursday. It's Thursday week, not Thanksgiving's this Thursday. It's 1 week from Thanksgiving. But now don't sit around and wait until Thursday if you're at a place where you can go ahead and do this. It will not, there's some of these things, it won't take you hardly any time to knock it out. With the School of Ed dispositions, it's just radio bullets, and you just have to click on some of them, whether you've met or you haven't met. Well, that's the competency analysis. You just say whether you've met it or not met it, and just submit it for evaluation. With the School of Ed dispositions, just remember that again, Dr. Revis, I forgot it, I said it last week. What's the key words on there, the rating on that?
Accomplished.
Accomplished.
Maybe?
Okay, if you say that, if you say that other than your standard, and it's that standard, if you think you're above in any area, then just remember, it's okay to say that, but you have to prove to us how you are above in that. It's okay not to be proficient in all these areas. You may need help in some area. It doesn't make you a bad person or weak person to say, you know, this is an area that I just don't feel like I'm strong enough in, and I do continue to need growth in that. It's a self-assessment. Again, if you just rate yourself at the standard, there's no writing to be done. But if you rate yourself above and you think that you're accomplished in these areas, then you have to just prove to us, you know, how you're accomplished there. And then the last thing is your internship log. Remember that it must be on the form that GWU provides. It's 80 approved hours signed by your site administrator and with a date on there. And all they have to do is just that signature just indicates that, yes, I am saying that they did what this form says that they did. And they're putting their signature to it. Again, this is not for evaluation. This goes into for our review, just like the folio went in for our review. 2 and 3 are for evaluation. 1 and 4 are for review. It's like you're putting them in the bank, and then you're going to put them in for evaluation at the end of your program, at the end of the 3rd semester. Again, all of this, you've got the latest is next Thursday, December the 2nd, to get this information or this work to Dr. Revis and me. Before we go any further, does anybody have any questions about Taskstream requirements 1, 2, 3, or 4, or any questions about the AAPTEL? Solomon.
For the internship log, using that form, it has a column for proof. Are we supposed to be providing some type of documentation there or something for each thing?
No, that's for your records. And the only thing you have to do, Solomon, is you have to put the date, you have to list the activity, and you have to put the amount of time for that activity. That's all that you need to submit to us. And then it's cumulative, and you will add it up at the end, and you will show us the hours, and then followed by the signature. That's all you've got to do for us.
Gotcha, perfect. And then my last question, the competency analysis. I know you just talked about that, but I think I might have missed that.
That's okay. The competency analysis, and again, the reason you're not having to do any writing there is because you've already done that with the AAPTEL and the AAPTEL. It's dealing with the competencies, and all you're doing is saying that you have or you have not met that. And there's not any of you, if you have done the work for us with the competency folio, there's not any of you that have not met those competencies. Wouldn't you say so, Dr. Revis?
Exactly.
So,
Okay, so where is the analysis located for me to submit?
It should be in your DRF folio, where you go to submit your Taskstream, the AAPTEL and AAPTEL. It should be right there.
okay, somebody that has already done that, because sometimes it takes another student to say it better than you and me, Dr. Revis.
I found it.
You found it? Okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had to click edit work first for it to show up.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kayla.
Yes, I just wanted to know, when you talk about signing off on stuff, are we talking about the same form that's in the, there was a packet for the clinical internship? Is that
Yes.
what we're working with?
Yeah, that form that where you and you can
Okay.
actually scan that and put it on your computer and type all your stuff in to give it that professional look, Kayla.
Okay, and then have the site supervisor sign it and then email it to you, because there's no
No,
spot on that form.
No, you will submit that just like you did your competency folio.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's at the very bottom of where you submitted your competency folio, though, where you list all 21 of those. It's at the very bottom of that.
Okay. Okay. And we're doing that for approval, not for evaluation, right?
Right, it doesn't go for evaluation until you are completed with all 3 semesters.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, good questions. Okay, Yolanda.
Hello. Will you mind having someone going over where to find the competency analysis? Please.
Okay, Solomon, you found it. Say it again. Say where you found it.
When you go into Taskstream, where it lists all of the assignments, it'll have like the AAPTEL or the AAPTEL. The next one says competency analysis, and then you click edit work where it says action, and then it'll say complete this form. And then when you click that link, it'll bring up the documents and you just click met or not met.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Yolanda, and this is for anybody, if any of you do run into a problem, you've got your Zoom teams, reach out to somebody on your Zoom team, and a lot of times they can tell you in just a second what to do if for some reason you run into a problem.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Kanisha.
Hi, Dr. Stedman. Do we need to upload our internship logs to our competency folio? Because I see there's a tab on there for that.
Well, you upload it by itself. It's just on the same page as that.
Okay.
It's at the very bottom. You will do that. You will do the process with that, just like you did with uploading your folio for competencies in the folio for us to review.
Okay. Thank you.
You will attach the document to that.
Okay.
Dr. Stedman, I can share my screen if you wish.
Okay, let me stop share then, and then
And we can, I've got one pulled up. 'cause
okay, good.
I
I'll
just
stop
gone
sharing.
in
You pull it
there.
up. Okay.
All right, let me get back to share screen. Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the part about met or not met. Are we saying if we got met or not met?
Okay, that's all you're doing. You're saying I either met it or I haven't met it. That's all you're doing.
Based on what the evaluator gave us?
No, based on what you think.
Oh, okay.
It's a self-assessment.
It's a
Remember that.
self-assessment. And then Kayla, then it's going to come to me. Yours is going to come to me. I'm going to look at what you put in there, and then I'm going to say whether I agree or disagree with you. And again, if Dr. Revis has cleared you, or if I've cleared you on things, then you're not going to have a problem there, okay?
Yeah, I'm just a little lost because I thought I did it already, but I don't remember met or not.
Okay, so I've got a folio pulled up, and you'll see your 21 competencies. And then down here at the bottom is internship logs. And that's where you would upload your internship log, and of course, request comments. And we, Dr. Stedman or I, either one of us for each other's classes, will go in, review it there. Okay.
And several have already done it. So, and again, it's and Dr. Revis, while you've got that, come on back down to the bottom again. I want to point out something. Do you see above internship log? It says digital learning competencies. You do not do anything there. And the 21 competencies that you have done preceding that, 18 of those competencies already have digital learning competencies built in them. So you do not, that's just there for you, for your reading understanding, but there's not anything you have to do with that.
Dr. Stedman, I have a question.
Okay, sure.
So for the internship, is there an activity that is like limited for the hours that can be used? I know it was stated previously, like you, for bus duty, you know, we can't use a certain amount of hours. And Dr. Revis said that she would determine, or whoever would determine how many hours would be used. So how will we know if the amount of hours are not?
You need to clear it with us ahead of time. Nothing should be a lot of hours, and we're going to tell you why. The experience is supposed to be a diversity of experiences. And remember, this goes to DPI, and it's a part of what they look at for your certification.
So it's supposed to go to you before it goes into Taskstream for you to tell us that, or is it
Uh,
going to Taskstream and
Yeah, it can, if you've got a question about it, then just ask us about it. If there's anything that you think that might be questionable, so that you're not wasting your time, I would say reach out to Dr. Revis or me, whoever's going to be looking at it, and just ask us, and we can give you a quick yes or no on something, or guide you on it. Just pick up the phone and call us.
Got you.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions?
Mevin, I think Mevin had a question.
Okay.
Mevin, did you have a question?
I think I got it answered when we're
Okay,
ready for
gotcha.
you to look at it. We're just
Okay,
supposed to
okay,
submit it
gotcha.
for
Okay,
post comments.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm going to stop share.
okay. Are there any other questions at this point? Again, don't make any of this harder than it needs to be. I mean, we're not minimizing the importance of any of it, but don't make it hard. The School of Ed disposition and the competency analysis are the two easiest things that you'll do in the whole semester. So they're very easy. And they're very easy because you've already done all that work, and we've seen it in the work that you've done with the AAPTEL and the AAPTEL. So again, don't make it hard on yourselves. Let's I don't know what happened there. There we are. So any other questions at this point? Let's look at and again, let's go over the deadlines again. All work, unless you've cleared it differently with Dr. Revis and me, and I've only had one student to talk to me because of a family issue where they haven't been home because the sister had gotten in a car accident, and I need to check on that situation as well. But they actually did turn work in to me on Sunday night, and didn't think they were going to even be able to turn work in, but they did in spite of the circumstances. But anyway, that's the only person that has communicated with me. Everything that you see here with your competency folio is due by December the 2nd. All work for the AAPTEL should be completed by this coming Sunday night. We should be able by this Sunday night at the latest to say submit to Taskstream for a final evaluation. Latest, okay? Now, the next thing I want to do is you're going to say, wow, we haven't even finished 601 and you're talking about 603. Well, we have to. And some of you are at a place where actually you're going to want to begin pulling resources and looking at opportunities to get some things done. Let me come down here first. We do have a required town hall that's scheduled for 11/29. That's next Monday at 7:00 p.m. Dr. Lamb will join us, and some of what we're going to talk about tonight, he will talk about it again, but he'll go into more detail about some things. Dr. Revis and I talked, and we didn't want you going into that town hall and it goes so fast, or we just didn't want you to be confused about it or be scared about it. So we just felt like that it was an opportunity for us to talk with you about some of the specifics of there it is. It'll show up in a minute, I guess. There it is. Let me see. Okay, this is week 14, and you have this, and this is in your Blackboard show as well. What I want to point out is in week 14, we have already listed for you the textbooks that you'll need for next semester. So you can go ahead and take care of ordering your textbooks. And this is some of the work that you're going to be doing. Remember, we said that it's case study intensive. It's full of case studies. Now, remember, you're going to be doing 2 evidences. The first evidence is called the OMA, and that's the organizational management assessment. Now, when you talk about the organization, what are you talking about? You're talking about school. Did you know the school is a business? School is a business. It's an organization. So what you're going to do is you're going to do an analysis of the whole school, every function of that school. You're going to look at the organization. And the organization is made up of a lot of people that do a lot of things. You're going to look at who are the people and what do the people do? What makes that organization work? What makes it tick? You're going to take the school and you're going to look at it inside and out. When it's all over with, you're going to know, you should know everything there is to know about that organization. And the only way you can move an organization forward as a leader is to know and understand your organization. That's your responsibility. So that's going to be your first task. A lot of work is going to be done with the looking at the school as an organization. You're going to do an analysis of it, a thorough analysis of it. Tied in with all of that is going to be school law and school finance. All of that is going to be embedded in all of the work that you do. It's embedded in your case studies. It's embedded in the discussion board activities that I'm going to point out. But now I will tell you, and Dr. Revis, I guess, and I don't want this to come across as a negative, but I would say that if I had to say over the course of this semester, the weakest link to the work that they've done possibly was the case study work. Just know that we introduced it to you, but now what 603 instructors are going to require of you, and they're going to lay out something much more detailed than what Dr. Revis and I did. And the reason we didn't do it, we just simply didn't have time. There was not enough time for you to have to dig and do what you're going to have to dig and do in 603 with. But just remember that you will work with your teams and you will work extensively with your teams. It'll be the same teams for the most part that you've worked with this semester. Sometimes there has to be some changes made based on if somebody decides not to come back or something happens. There has to be enough people in the team to make it an effective team, but you're going to be working with those same people. Dr. Revis, would you like to say anything at all about, I'm not going to pick them up. These case studies are there, and all of this that's under week 14, I would advise you to click on it, open it up, and print it off. Put this in a folder or notebook that you can have yourself. You should get every bit of this next semester, but I would print it off just in case. And then this gives you an opportunity to begin looking at and working on these things, prior to next semester starting. Dr. Revis, would you like to say anything at all about case studies, though?
Well, I would just say that, Dr. Stedman and I really tried to get you to cite the research and back up your opinions about things. And I would just say in the case studies, guys, you've got to back up what you say you would do, or the process that you say you would use with those landmark cases. You're going to really enjoy school law.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite courses when I was getting my degree. It made me think, oh gosh, I needed to have this type of school law class before I stepped in the classroom as a teacher. But, you know, you will really enjoy it, but it's not just about your opinion. You have to ground your opinion in these landmark cases that you are going to study and use as your guidelines. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, I tell my doctoral students, you don't know enough to have an opinion. What you have to do is always back your opinions up with cases, landmark cases, research, and those kinds of things. But you will really enjoy these case studies and school law.
And Dr. Revis, these are the actual 4 case studies that you will have in 603. You've already got them. So, you know, go ahead and you can start doing, and just know that you've got to do extensive work, and everything's got to be based on what the law says, what policy says for your schools, not what you think. It's what it is. And then you will also have weekly discussion board activities, and these are pretty intensive too. And all of these are tied to, you know, what does the law say? What does policy say? I'm going to click on that, and you've got access to this as well. I want you to look at some of the things that you're going to have to do, and these are more independent assignments. They're not necessarily, a lot of these are not tied to working with a PLC. Look at number 1. You're going to have to locate copies of the school emergency or crisis plans. How long did it take for you and your administrator to find your emergency crisis plan? According to what you read, is the plan appropriate? Locate a copy of your school budget. Does it contain federal, state, local, and school funds? What, if anything, is missing? List the 5 most important steps in the school-based budgeting process. Conduct a facilities walkthrough using the assessment inventory checklist. How well did your school do? I mean, just in that one, there's lots of stuff embedded in that one assignment right there. Lots of stuff. Everything is tied to what the law says. Everything in there is tied to school law, is it not, Dr. Revis?
It is. And again, remember, this course is combining school law and school budget and finance.
Right.
And those are the 2 things that I would say. Well, school finance, I would say when in interviewing for new principals, that's the one area that I think most assistant principals don't get enough practice in.
Right.
And it is the school budget. So really roll your sleeves up. Now, if you work in a Title I school, you know, and have worked with Title I funds, those are your federal funds, but you have all kinds of funds coming into your school. And the key to being a good finance operations person is knowing what monies you can spend for what things, and being very strategic in how you allocate those funds.
And you'll learn that sometimes you know that the school gets monies, but guess what? They can't always spend it the way you think they can spend it. The federal government or the state, state monies are much easier to spend than federal government monies. Federal government monies come with a lot of red tape with it, a lot of stipulations. So just know that. Number 2, you're going to interview an administrator concerning human resources practices. This should include position openings, job announcements, obtaining candidates, interviewing process, and hiring process. Also inquire about services such as employee assistance, compensation plans, and benefits. Finally, determine how position openings, job announcements, obtaining candidates, interviewing process, and hiring process is conducted in your district. Again, there's a lot embedded in that, Dr. Revis. I mean, that's that's fully around. All of that is human resources.
And when it says interview an administrator, I would think if it were me, I would want to go to the district level administrator in charge of HR. I'm sure your principal can talk about it from his or her perspective, but also think about interviewing someone at your district office.
Yes, I agree. Look at number 3. Interview the chair or a member of your school's intervention team, SST, care team, whatever you call it, school improvement team. This is the school-based committee that receives referrals from teachers concerning students that are having academic or behavioral problems. Outline the official 90-day process that students go through prior to an EC testing decision. I can remember, Dr. Revis, interviewing people when I was at the superintendent's level for principalships. And it was amazing the number of people that had no idea about the EC process and the information that's embedded in what you need to know in number 3. It is so, I will tell you, EC, every principal should know EC from left to right.
That one can get you in trouble as a principal if you don't know the guidelines and processes. I know out of my 2 classes, I have several of you who are exceptional children's teachers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you're very familiar with this, but if you're not, well, even if you are, you're going to have to do this discussion more prompt, but you need to understand this whole process and the timelines and everything that you have to do about least restricted environment. You'll learn all about that in a lot of detail.
Right. And look at number 4. Examine a school or district policy on cyberbullying. And we know that this is such a prevalent issue right now. Citing policy, explain your response to a parent presenting evidence of cyberbullying at your school. What I am looking for here is what steps the school can and cannot take in dealing with cyberbullying. Again, what does the law say? I mean, there's some things you think, well, I can do that, but some things you can't do. You may want to do it, but you better not do it because the law will not protect you in doing some things. Examine a school or district policy on harassment. Citing policy, explain how you as an administrator would respond to a complaint brought by a 10th grade female student claiming harassment by her male softball coach. So you're going to get Title IX is pulled into this, and you'll learn what all these things are about. It's important. You have to know these things as an administrator. Dr. Revis, would you read number 5 and just talk about it?
All right, number 5, interviewing an assistant principal or other school disciplinarian. Now, I'm going to tell you, your first job is probably going to be an assistant principal. You're going to spend a healthy portion of your day dealing with student discipline. So, in your interview, what are the biggest concerns about processing disciplinary incidences? What system of discipline guides their decision-making, whether it's a student code of conduct or whether it's layered with PBIS or whatever. And observe student due process in a school and report what surprised you the most about the process. And due process is a big thing under school student discipline.
Dr. Revis, there was a day that due process was there, but there was a day I can remember in my early career that people didn't talk about due process really, for the most part. Mm-hmm. It was, we had a lot of freedom as teachers, as administrators back in the day that parents expected you to, but you better not do it now.
No.
You better not do it now. It is a different day.
It really is. And, even with talking about the special ed, it is not unusual to have parents bring into an IEP meeting an attorney or a special education representative. Now, most school districts require parents to let you know if they're bringing somebody of that nature to a meeting. But we're in a very litigious society. So, you have to know your school law, and you have to know your due process, student due process, teacher due process.
And Dr. Evans, I will tell you, my first administrative job as an assistant principal, it was at a large elementary school. And the assistant principal prior to me being there, we were a city school system. So there were only 3 schools in the whole district at that time. We were a city school system. So there were not a lot of district level people to do work. So administrators, they had those responsibilities, at the school level. So this assistant principal was in charge of the EC program at the school. He was the designee, the EC designee. And to make a long story short, they had a federal audit. And because records were out of compliance, testing had not been done like it was supposed to in a timely manner, the EC program lost literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars that had to be reverted back to the state to the federal government, because they were that much out of compliance. Well, needless to say, this assistant principal was fired as assistant principal, and was put back into the classroom as a classroom teacher and moved to another school. Well, I had just finished my administrative degree, and I interviewed, and guess who got the assistant principal's job? So I went to that elementary school, and I became the person in charge of EC. And I will tell you, the superintendent told me, they said, your main responsibility at this point is to turn that EC program around. So that's how I started my administrative career. Turning around a school where the person in charge of EC had gotten fired, and the school, it was in a mess. But I tell you what, I learned EC the hard way. I learned it I pulled my bootstraps up and I learned it. So I'm just telling you, I know from experience what can happen if you don't do what you're supposed to do with that EC program. And then look at number 6. Examine a school or district field trip policy. Assuming you are the supervisor on a local trip, what action would you take after the bus rear ends a car, resulting in minor injuries to several students? Reflect on the fact that educators have been found financially responsible for professional inaction when an injured student or adult proved that the professional action or inaction led to the injury. Now, like Dr. Evans has already said, your first job is probably going to be an assistant principal. Guess who's in charge of buses? An assistant principal. So guess who's going to be responsible for knowing and understanding what, and this is going to happen. There's no if here. It's inevitable that there will be a bus accident at some point in your career if you're an administrator. Am I right, Dr. Revis?
Yes, you are right. Unfortunately, you are correct.
So we're just telling you, again, it's important as you are entering into 603 and you are beginning to work with school law, embrace it. It's like Dr. Revis said, it's probably it's so interesting. It's just, I still am fascinated with school law and finance as well, but school law especially. It's a lot of fun learning, what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
And it's ever changing as well.
Oh, yes, it is. But this is, you've got this in 603. I mean, you've got your 603 resources and materials there. You will, well, I was going to show you one more thing. Let me show
Now,
you. And let me pull it.
let's
Here,
open up,
Dr. Revis,
the
while you're
OMA,
talking, let me see
if
if
you
I
can get
can,
back there.
let me get this,
Now, those things he was reading there, guys, those are just your discussion board prompts. That's it. And you've got discussion board prompts weekly. You have also got case studies, not on a weekly basis, but you saw the case studies there, but you've also got your 2 big evidence artifacts.
okay, right.
So all we did in 601 was really focus on evidence artifacts.
Right.
So, you've got more added to it this time coming up, but you are ready to take on more.
Now, one of the things that you won't have to do that takes up a lot of your time this semester is doing the peer reviewing is not nearly as intensive as it was this semester. Notice here, this is the OMA task and prompts. This is your template. I would copy this and I would put it somewhere. This is an example from a student that did a good job on just task 1 of what the OMA looks like. Dr. Lamb was generous and gave you that, and he'll tell you that. And this is an OMA example right here. So I would copy all of this stuff. Now the OMA is evidence 3. It's not in here, but you will also be introduced and you'll have to do evidence 4, which is the SCIP. And the SCIP stands for SCIP, Stakeholder and Community Involvement Plan. The stakeholder, all the people outside, inside, the community, local government, county government, all of them, all stakeholders, you're going to do, you're going to look at it, you're going to analyze it, you're going to study it, and your plan in that's going to be, how are you going to make things better for your school? And that's the second evidence, and we're not even going to talk about that much because it's really too much, but just to know that there are 2 evidences that you'll be required to do next semester. So,
and you'll
and
still
again,
need to call on your PLC group,
right,
for some of this evidence work. Not
right,
all of it,
right,
but you're going to develop a plan for stakeholder and community involvement.
right. And again, the reason we shared this with you tonight, we didn't want you coming into town hall and a lot of stuff coming across pretty quickly, because town hall usually lasts about 30 minutes and a lot of stuff happens in that. And we just felt like if we took the time tonight, that it would make the town hall much more meaningful for you, and that it would take away, hopefully, some of the stress that you would have gotten from hearing this and not understanding what it was about. So we hope that what we have shared with you this evening will make that introduction a lot easier, and that you will take advantage as you are finishing up the work for us, that you'll take advantage to begin looking at 603 and going ahead and getting yourself ready for it.
And definitely go ahead and get your books ordered, and go ahead and definitely download and print off the OMA, the template and the example. Go ahead and save it to your computer, and go ahead and be working on that and be thinking about how you're going to approach that.
Okay. Guys, you're almost there. You are almost there. Almost there. And I still remember those first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when many of you were throwing up your hands and you were saying, I'm quitting, I'm not going to do this or whatever. We told you to hang in there, and you've done that. And so, you know, great job. Almost there. Any questions? I'm not going to take any more of your time, or we're not going to take any more of your time. You still have a lot to do, some of you. So, or tidying up or pulling loose ends together. You have any other questions from us at this point? And again,
Dr.
Dr.
Simmons?
Revis and I, thank you for all the kind words. It has been our pleasure to work with you this semester and to give you your start in this new direction in your career and in your lives. It's just been our pleasure. And what I want to do is, Dr. Revis and I, we're coming back online next Tuesday, and the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty informal. We're at a place where we can do this. We're going to answer questions that you may have at that time, and we'll even talk about 603 because it's okay for us to move in that direction now. So as you begin looking at that, if there's questions over the next 2 weeks that you have about 603, then we can help you with that so that it will be easier for you when you do start. But we want you to between now and next week and the week after, please think about sharing. Some people don't feel comfortable with that, but we hope that you will. We'd like for you to just be honest with us and just share with us your experience this semester. Dr. Revis and I are always looking at, we analyze ourselves, and we want, if we can do something better, then and it's within our power to do that, then we will. Some things we're kind of we're restrained to it because that's the way DPI says we have to do it. That's the way Gardner Webb says we have to do it. So we can't deviate from what we're required to do. But if there's things that we can do to make it better for the next group that we're going to be working with, Dr. Revis and I will continue to work together, hopefully. And if we can improve in any area, by all means, we're open to those suggestions. And we just want to hear from you about how you feel about yourself now that you've almost finished this first semester. Matthew, did you have a question?
I do, but it's going to be an individual question, so I'll wait until everybody is all set.
Okay. Kayla, you have a question?
Yes. When are you guys doing the final grades? And what are you guys doing in the spring?
Yeah, that will not come until after December 2nd. Then Dr. Revis and I will start looking at making sure everybody's got their things in, and sometime between the 2nd and the 7th, we pretty much will have our grades in.
Okay. And then what are y'all doing in the spring? So I know when to call.
We will be doing 601 again with a new group of students.
Okay.
But see, the good thing is, once you've had us for 601, we think you are ours. And we would like for you to think of that as well. So anytime you want to call us, I have never taught 603, but I've been an evaluator. So I know what the evidence artifacts should look like. So
okay, so just let me know what day so I won't call you during class.
And Lauren, you won't be by yourselves. You will have a support team as well. The thing is, though, it's like I said, or Dr. Revis and I said at the very beginning of this semester, all of this is new to you. So it's our job as 601 instructors to teach you how to be independent, more independent. And I feel like that we've done that. So you won't need the intensity of some of the things that we have had to do next semester. But if you do, just remember, there will be an instructor and there will be another clinical coach too that will do what needs to be done as it relates to your work with 603. I know all of those people. They're wonderful people, and you're going to embrace them, and you're going to learn from them in a different way, because they're going to approach things differently, because 603 is just different. You know, so they're going to do things differently from the way Dr. Revis and I did. But we've been pretty strict on you, so we've set the standard for you to be able to make it almost on your own if you had to.
And don't forget, you've got your Zoom groups. You're going to have those again, and you've already built some really good relationships with your Zoom teams. So those are good people to reach out to as the first line of questions. But Dr. Lamb, I tell you, he comes across as being gruff, and sometimes I think people misinterpret that as being he doesn't care. You will never find a person who cares any more than he does. And he will go to the nth degree to help you be successful.
Let me tell you what he did. I had a doctoral group of students, and now, mind you, he's 3.5 hours away from me where I live. The person needed some help, and it was beyond what I understood to do, because it was dealing with statistics and things of that. That's not my forte. And do you know what Dr. Lamb did? He drove all the way from Gardner-Webb University to Lumberton, North Carolina, 3.5 hours, to spend 1 hour with the student and me to help us better understand what we were doing, and drove all the way back. That's how much he cares about the students that are in these programs. So, and he played Santa Claus right now. He came online last night. We had a faculty meeting. He's got his beard out there, his hair out. I mean, his beard, he has no hair like me, but he had his Santa Claus hat on, and he is so excited and praying that nothing happens that's not going to allow him to do his face-to-face Santa Clauses this year. So he's been doing this for many, many years. And I will tell y'all this about Dr. Lamb. Dr. Lamb he and his wife make Christmas possible for a lot of children. A lot of children. Been doing it for many years.
I hope I know some of you will have him, and you know, you will enjoy him and consider yourself fortunate if you do have him. You will really learn a great deal. Now, I'm not going to tell you he doesn't have high expectations.
Oh,
but he's not going to leave you hanging.
no.
And again, you know, you've got your other clinical coach.
Right.
That's the way the program is designed, to have someone there to support you.
And you'll get it. You'll get it. If I'm not mistaken, unless they change it, and I'm almost scared to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. All of you will either have, no, I'm not going to say it.
But here's the good thing, guys.
I'm not going to say it because I'm scared I'll get it wrong. I better not say that.
Here is the good thing. It's quite possible that Dr. Stedman and I could end up instructing and or coaching you in the summer. Okay.
And in fact, I had this past summer, Dr. Revis, both of you and I had several students that we started out with.
Oh
again.
yeah. And that is so rewarding to me to see you have you first semester and last semester to see the growth. So again, I hope that you will think about sharing a little bit about how you think you've grown professionally or personally in our next class meeting. And, you know, you don't have to go into great detail, but well, we'd like to hear that. And we also would like to hear some feedback about what we could do better, different, or you can also say, keep this the same if you wish, but we like to hear your feedback.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And you have a happy Thanksgiving. Most of you are at a good place where you can enjoy Thanksgiving Day and really not have to worry about Gardner-Webb that day, I think. Most of you are at that place, and that's a good place to be. That has not always been the case. I have had students that have had to work all Thanksgiving Day because they were that far behind. But you've plowed the course, and I think most of you should be able to enjoy Thanksgiving Day without having to think about much about Gardner Webb that day. So enjoy your families.
Enjoy your families and count your blessings, guys.
That's right. Okay. And
Matthew,
just
who did you need to talk to?
I just said one simple question and going over, making sure everything was logged in. And looking at the score section, there is an upcoming listing for AAPTEL Final Evidence Narrative Turn-It-In assignment. And I'm not sure if there's something extra that needs to be going in for that, because I've already submitted everything for the AAPTEL, done everything for the Taskstream, and everything has gone in there. There was a score section at the bottom of the grade area that said AAPTEL Turn-It-In due on the 30th. That was scored with the, well, it says 0, but it does have the commentary on it. So I'm not sure if there's something that's not correct.
Okay, Matthew,
like,
was that in Blackboard or Taskstream?
It should be Taskstream. Do you mind if I try to share a screen? I can probably show you the screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah, that may be the
that's fine.
one that
Yeah, that'll
that may
help.
be the one I had to recreate, Matthew.
Sure.
Kayla mentioned that to me earlier today too.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I was talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can you share it, Matthew?
I'm trying to pull it up around because I took a screenshot and I want to make sure I can pull that up there. Let me see if I can pull it right from the photos.
And if you're in my classes, this
Does
well,
that show up there?
Yeah,
Okay.
we see it.
okay.
Yep. So you'll see up here near the top, it'll say AAPTEL Final Evidence Narrative, or underneath APSL Final Evidence Narrative. That's listed as upcoming. And at the very bottom, that's where the AAPTEL Turn-It-In section is for the 30th. But it does not give a score section. It's just there. It's 0 out of 0. There's no actual score section. So I just
Yeah,
want to make sure there's nothing else missing.
No, one of those links would not work.
Okay.
And I had to create a new one.
No worries.
And then when I created the new one, I couldn't remember which one wouldn't work. So I left them both up there.
So,
Sounds good.
So you're clear, Matthew. You're not going to you don't have to do anything, and you're not losing any points by that
No.
being there. That's just it'll go
Technology
away
being
after
technology.
it'll go away after the semester's over with, and they close things out. But right now, it just kind of fills space. That's all it's doing.
Yep. No problem. Like I said, I just want to double check because we had our principal retirement today, so we're getting another brand new administration rundown through. So we're going to get them all up to speed for the spring.
Right. Great. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks for asking that, though, Matthew. You've done well.
Thanks, Matthew.
Not a problem. You guys have a good one.
Any other questions? Kayla, I will get on your work just as soon as I can, okay?
Thanks.
This girl pushes me. She wants immediate results.
I'm ready to submit to Taskstream.
Okay, I'll look at that one real quick. Those are easy to do. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Thank you. Happy
Okay,
Thanksgiving.
good night, everybody.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving. Good night, Dr. Stedman.
Good night, Dr. Ravis. Wait till everybody gets out. Okay.